The world center of racing, Daytona International Speedway, home to horsepower and speed. It's auto racing's premier venue. And today, it's the site of the most competitive triathlon in the world. Countless world champions, Olympic gold medalists. The defending Challenge Daytona winners are a part of the best triathletes on the planet, going head-to-head to win the largest purse ever. Over $1 million is on the line. On the women's side, the Brit Holly Lawrence is in peak condition to climb to the top of the world rankings. And her fellow countryman, Alistair Brownlee, has the entire field wondering if he can be beat.
Where does the power come from? To see the race to its end from within.
Drivers, start your engines.
As they come to the line 2 by 2, green flags in the air, we're racing.
The world center of racing, an evolution before our eyes. How bad do you want to win?
Unbelievable! The most anticipated moment in racing.
Rage against the dying of the light.
He's won $1 million.
$1 million!
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
And welcome to the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona. An absolutely gorgeous day here at Daytona Beach, Florida, for what promises to be one of the greatest events ever in triathlon history. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen alongside Belinda Granger, a 15-time full distance and Challenge Roth winner, as well as 3-time Olympic swimmer Rowdy Gaines. And Belinda, I'll start with you. A unique event here at Daytona.
Honestly, Rick, unique for so many reasons. I mean, we are pitting the best short course athletes against the best long course athletes over a distance that neither are accustomed to. Add to that the fact that this is the first true championship event of the year. It's going to be simply incredible.
And Rowdy, it seems as though somebody built Daytona International Speedway for triathlons. It's all right here.
Yeah, it's amazing because it's right there behind us. 480 acres, 44-acre lake, 2.8-mile track, all in the most iconic stadium in the planet, in my opinion.
We've talked about how unique it is. How about the fact that the top 40 PTO ranked male and female athletes are in this field? We have the biggest purse ever in triathlon history at over $1 million sitting out there for them. Now, the women are going to have the course to themselves. They will start at 10 a.m. Then, when they're finished, the men will start at 2 p.m. We have boots on the ground right amongst all of the athletes, and we're going to go down to Kevin McKinnon right there now.
Hey, thanks, Rick. The feeling down here is electric. This is just an unbelievable feeling. I wish everyone could go through what I'm experiencing right now. Goosebumps. It feels like a world championship pumped up with tons of juice, with all that money up for grabs. The athletes are just getting into the water now, doing their warm-ups, and you can feel the energy down at this swim start. It is going to be rocking in just a few minutes.
Just as Kevin was saying, there's lots of nervous energy down here. I think we're going to see desperate racing. People have not had the opportunity to race, make money this year, and with over $1 million on the line, they're going to be willing to lose to win. It's an amazing opportunity for these athletes today, and can't wait to see what's about to unfold.
Thanks, Alicia. Let's take a look at our women contenders today. The highest ranked PTO athlete is Australian Sarah Crowley, and Germany's Annie Haug. PTO ranked 4th will be someone to watch during the run for sure. Holly Lawrence is one of the favorites, and Heather Jackson comes in as the top-ranked American. And at the bottom of the list, you have to look at Nicholas Spirig and the Canadian, defending Challenge Daytona champion Paula Findlay.
Let's take a look at how it got underway. The best women in the world here fighting at Challenge Daytona.
Yeah, you're so right. They're fighting nerves right there. And then all of a sudden, all of them grouped there together. You see so much splash, a lot of fighting out there. And somehow or another, you try to get out there, and that's exactly
what Hall did. Get out there in that early lead and then just clear sailing from there. And that's the feel that you want to have. Even though she bumped in that buoy, as you said, Belinda, I don't think it caused her that much trouble, especially as she moved out in front into that next buoy. She learned.
She did, and honestly, here they are coming out of the water for that one. Again, I was really surprised to see such a tight-packed group, but now we can see it's exactly as we thought was going to happen. Lucy pulling away, Lauren Brandon trying desperately to stay on her feet, to stay connected. And not long to go now before we will see them exit the water and enter T1.
Now let's join the women's swim live.
We had predicted, looking back at previous performances, that it would take Lucy a little over 25 minutes to finish this, maybe 25 and a half minutes to finish this distance in Lake Lloyd, and it looks like she's going to be pretty close to that number. And so we know that Lauren Brandon also having a very good swim here. Jody Stimpson, Holly Lawrence, a part of that second pack that has really got a lot of chop going on there, but staying at least close enough to Lucy Hall so that they can still see them when they come out of the water. Nicola Spierig, Paula Findlay, all fighting for position here in the water.
What I'm most excited to see is Jeannie Seymour, okay, who is in that second group. What's fascinating to see, to talk about, is that Jeannie is not renowned for being a super quick swimmer, but so to see her in this group is really exciting, because Seymour is also another athlete that is a phenomenal runner. So to see her so far up so early in the race is great news for Jeannie and fans.
And it's surprising a little bit. We thought it was going to be around 25 and a half minutes coming out of the water. It could be faster than that. So really Lucy Hall setting a record pace here. She's coming out of the water a little bit quicker than what we would have thought, Kevin.
She sure is. She looks fantastic, and my guess is she's going to be just a touch over 24 minutes for this 2K swim. And again, it's been really interesting to watch her lines. She's taken some really strange lines. Lauren has been swimming a much more direct path, but just never able to get up to Lucy Hall's feet. And I'm also struggling a little bit. Lucy's working so hard on this swim. Seems to me that might be pushing just a touch harder than she actually needed to. Having Lauren around to help her would have been fantastic, but she is looking strong as she comes out. Here comes Lauren Brandon now, and she looks fantastic. Looks very under control. This is what we're used to seeing as she comes out of full distance swims regularly in the top. And now we have a group of four, it looks like a group of seven or eight about to come on out.
And this transition is to jog until they get to their bikes. They'll put the helmets on. They won't put the shoes on until they actually push their bikes out of this transition area.
That's correct. All of the bike shoes are clipped into the pedals on the bike. They are not allowed to mount their bikes till they get to the official mount line. So they'll wetsuits off. That's, as you can see, that is a short course transition done to perfection. No mucking around there. Straight out to that mount line where Lucy will jump on, do a few pedal strokes to get some speed up on the bike, and then those shoes will be on her feet within seconds.
Alicia.
Here we are in T1. I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I just ran here. We have Lauren Brandon in second place, just probably 15 seconds down from Lucy Hall. You'll notice she's clipping her helmet, getting her bike off of the rack, and heading down to that mountain line.
As the women start to transition out of the water and onto bikes, it's Lucy Hall leading the way. You're watching the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona. More to come from Daytona International Speedway after the break. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona. The bike portion of the women's event has begun. Let's take a look at the highlights.
It was Lucy Hall who was first out of the water, first onto the bike. You have to run until you get to the exit of the transition period. A little craziness behind him, and that's normal for the triathlon. You've got to make sure that you have everything ready and you're in position to be able to jump on the bike. Lucy Hall held on as long as she could. Paula Findlay was able to take over that top spot, and then Paula Findlay and Lisa Norden continued to almost work together. There's no drafting, but it was Lisa Norden who stayed within striking distance until she thought it was time. And she made the move, was able to get by Paula Findlay and Lisa Norden out front in the bike portion of the triathlon here at Challenge Daytona.
You know, these athletes are used to doing races where maybe the top 3 is decent money and then it falls off very, very quickly. Right. One thing that I love that the PTO has done for this particular race is, as we said, not only is every athlete being paid, but that actual prize purse breakdown from 1st through to 20th is exceptionally good. So even to finish in 15th place today, that is a decent payday to take home. So, you know, I know Lauren would be very, very happy with a top 15 spot. But what I will say, and the one woman we haven't spoken about,
this is for the lead right here, as we're seeing Lisa Norden has slowed off the pace just a bit, and Paula Findlay coming up now.
I think this will certainly help Findlay because of the actual mind games now. You start to play a little bit, you know, I'm just biding my time here. This is what I've got left here going into this transition.
So Norden out of the saddle now, but because the reason she did that first, it gives her an opportunity to obviously stretch out her hamstrings, but also because once Paula makes that pass, she has to be shown to be dropping back as quickly as possible. So yeah, out of the saddle, stop pedaling, automatically drops back throughout that 20. And you know, this is not surprising, guys. This is not surprising. They will enter transition together. It's not something that Lisa will be upset about. Right. All right, she knows that Paula's there. She maybe was giving splits that Paula was dropping off by a couple of seconds, but at the end of the day, that's nothing over 80K. And so it's no surprise to see these two coming into transition together. Lisa, of course, would have liked to buffer just because we know that her running may not be exactly, as Kevin said, where she wants it to be. But if these two go into transition with the lead they've got, they'll still both be very, very happy with that scenario. But one of the big things that I want to say, and we haven't spoken about it, and I didn't realize, one of my little spotters out on ground, Kat Matthews, so Katrina Matthews, who recently won Ironman Florida not so long ago, is out of the race. So that is a huge disappointment. Kat Matthews was one of the favorites here today, is a phenomenal over all 3 legs, powerhouse on the bike and can run. So to get that news that Kat Matthews is out is devastating. I'm not sure why, but a real blow for Kat.
And for the average fan.
And for the average fan, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and I would say for the average fan here, Belinda, it's interesting to know, at least I'm watching, the two out in front, Findlay and Norden, are way ahead, far ahead, ahead of Morrison in 3rd place. That biker on the 3rd is actually being lapped. So they're not that close.
Yeah, 3rd right now, Kim Morrison is almost 2 minutes behind Findlay and Norden, the two that are out front here.
Yeah, they're definitely running particularly well. One thing to note is I am quite surprised. Holly Lawrence is now dropping back. And now it's you can see that Haug and Philippe are very, very close to Lawrence. So you've got Lawrence, Brandon, Langridge, Haug and Philippe riding very, very close.
Once again, coming out here onto the banking at Daytona International Speedway, we see Lisa Norden going back in front of Paula Findlay. Now they're getting ready. You see here, she actually came out of her shoe there as they're getting ready for T2, this second transition. They're going to undo the shoes and get ready to make the transition.
And you can see second shoe now off as we have first 2 women, Lisa Norden and Paula Findlay, coming in off the 80K bike ride.
You think that was a little early to do that?
No, it's better being prepared than underprepared. Right. I've seen a lot of athletes leave it too late and it doesn't end well.
Right.
So now they'll run their bikes into transition. Let me tell you, these first few steps, even if you've taken care of yourself during the bike ride, feel like death.
Shaky.
Doesn't matter how good you are, it is not a nice feeling, and it can often take, you know, that first kilometre of the run before you actually start to get into a rhythm and you start to feel your stride and feel like you're actually running to the potential.
Boy, that is absolutely amazing. They've done the swim and the bike, and it's 2 hours and 18 minutes in. They are flying.
2 hours, 18 minutes of pushing their bodies to the limit. And Paula Findlay first to put the shoes on and start the run portion of the triathlon here.
That was executed to perfection by Paula. And as you can see, she's not doing anything silly. She knows she's got a gap. She's not going to leave transition at a rate of knots. She's just going to steadily get herself into running rhythm, make sure that you're feeling good. You don't want, the worst thing you want to do is take off too quickly and then end up cramping.
Kevin.
All right, so Lisa and Paula both looking actually really good as they came in here. So in years past when we've seen folks come off the bike, it's almost been cramp central here. And both of them ran in quite easily and comfortably. And Lisa Norden sat down just to give her legs a little bit of a break and then got rolling very quickly and easily. Paula definitely, though, looks like the smoother as they get started on this run.
Now, Kevin, we have just been informed that Annie Haug will need to serve a 2-minute penalty. Her number is up on the whiteboard, so that changes everything.
It sure does, Belinda. Major drama unfolding here in Daytona as the German Annie Haug will serve her penalty for drafting as Paula Findlay leads the way.
So we look back on how the run started. Paula Findlay actually passing Lisa Norden in T2. The biggest story, though, that happened, the fastest runner in the field, Annie Haug, serving a 2-minute penalty for drafting during the bike. So she had to wait in the tent. An emotional day for Lisa Norden. What a performance she put out. Coming into this event, she knew she had a calf injury. She thought she could fight through it. But when the run started, she just couldn't continue on. Annie Haug going by Holly Lawrence, one of the favorites coming into this event. Haug has made her way up to second. She went by Relive to take that second spot. But it has been all Paula Findlay.
And as we join the action live, we see Lucy Hall, who was a leader out of the swim, is now walking. Belinda.
The bike takes that much out of you, being down in that aero position, riding the speeds that we've seen these women ride today. And some can handle it, and others, it just breaks them. And you normally don't know till the second, third lap of the run, but you know, you can see that she's not comfortable at all. Lucy is not comfortable. She's cramping. And it's predominantly the hamstrings that you'll find, hamstrings and hip flexors, and they are just angry.
The determination to continue on. I think we saw that with Lisa Norden. Here was a woman that we know had a calf injury. She was still walking. She continued to walk around the course here. It's training. It's what all of these athletes have put into this to get ready for this. And we watch Paula Findlay here, and we just know that when she said this is the best she's felt in 5 years, we wouldn't have known it until we seen this performance. I mean,
Exactly.
yes, she can tell us that this is the best she's felt.
You're dead right. We haven't got to see. We haven't had an opportunity to see how she's going because there's been no racing. I mean, that's why I was a little hesitant to say Paula is a favourite, because I just haven't seen her out there performing in an actual race.
I love the fact that one of her childhood heroes was Terry Fox. If you're not familiar with Terry Fox, the reason why I love that so much, he was one of my I shouldn't say childhood heroes, he was also one of my heroes, a Canadian athlete, humanitarian, cancer survivor. He took off to run across the country of Canada. She looks back, really kind of feeling it now, but
I think she's, that's the first time I've seen
there
this.
it is.
So literally has not raced since this race last year. That's one whole year that Paula Findlay has not been on an actual race course. So incredible to think she won Challenge Daytona 2019. As you see the emotion really starting to show on her face now. To think that we fast forward a year and this is her very next race.
She's looking back again, just in case.
And emotions overcoming her now as she knows what she's accomplished. She has stayed focused for so long, and she comes down the final run here.
Cannot believe it.
And she will be the 2020 PTO champion of Challenge Daytona. Paula Findlay for Canada wins again.
Well, that was a truly spectacular finish, a truly spectacular race from swim through to bike through to run. I cannot fault that race at all. Wow.
She's
looking back wondering, wait a second.
I don't think she quite believes what she's done.
There's got to be another athlete somewhere. And as we wait for Annie Haugen's second to come to the finish line, let's send it to Kevin with our winner.
Paula Findlay, unbelievable, the disappointment in 2012. I saw you crying then, but we're crying for a very different reason here today. Tell us about what you're feeling right now.
Oh, this is so crazy. I don't even know what to say. I did not expect that, obviously. And I haven't had a good race since 2010, so this is insane. And I just felt good all day. And I don't know, one of those perfect days that never happens, but it happened today.
What an accomplishment. Even with the penalty, Annie Haug finished second in this just star-studded field of athletes.
But this just shows the caliber athlete of Annie Haug,
Now let's take a look at the top 30 finishers from the women's overall standings from the PTO 2020 Championship. Canada's Paula Findlay defends her title, wins by 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Annie Haug overcame the penalty to still come home in second. Fellow German Laura Philipp finishes third. The Brit Holly Lawrence finishes fourth. And the top finishing American, that's Skye Munch, in sixth. As we take a look at the second page, Kimberly Morrison, who was fast on the bike, comes in 13th today, 11:36 behind Findlay. American Heather Jackson finished 20th, overcoming a poor start with the swim. And as we look at page 3, early favorites Carrie Lester and Sarah Crowley. They finished 23rd and 24th. And Lucy Hall, our leader out of the water, finishes in 28th. Now let's send it back down to Kevin with our second place finisher.
I'm here with Annie Haug, second here today. Annie, can you tell us about the race, and do you know what happened out on the bike?
No, not really, because I really tried to be fair, and I had a whole bunch of people to overtake, and I thought that was the 3 meter ahead, and it was the outer corner, and I was pushing and pushing and pushing, and suddenly I got a penalty. So I don't know, because after lap 5 I was continuously pretty much the whole race on my own, and but it happens, and I made the best out of it. And Paula was just better today, so I have to accept it and make the best out of it. So I'm very proud of myself that I still keep on pushing, and it was a great race.
It was Paula Findlay crossing the line first in our women's event, and when we come back, it'll be time for the star-studded men's field to be entering the water to begin their event. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where the men's event has just gotten underway.
For the men, the greatest field of triathletes all together, fighting for a piece of the $1 million. And look at that chaos right when the cannon fired.
We've got Henry Schumann with an early lead as expected, exiting the Aussie exit in first place, taking a quick look back just to see who's there. Andreas Salzberg in second with the Brownlee boys right on their feet. Looks like penguins jumping off an iceberg. Unbelievable sight.
As Henry Schumann continues to lead the swim, let's go down to Kevin.
Ultimately, this is just not panning out in Henry Schumann's way at all. This is not what he wanted to see happen.
You're so right, Kevin, and that's the no-win situation. In fact, he's out front. He's going to come out of the water first, but by a second? I mean, come on, it's really not that big of a lead to jump out of the water, and he's carried everybody behind him with him. So it really is not a big win situation. The only way he could have done it better is to stretch that lead out to where you make the other guys behind you work. And he hasn't quite done that. He's brilliant on the swimming, no doubt about it. He's a great swimmer, but I know he would have liked to have that 4 or 5 second lead, not the 1 second lead.
Rowdy, he would have loved even more than that.
Yeah.
So the ideal scenario for Henry Schumann was that he and the Brownlees get out clear, and he gets Alistair and Johnny to take a few pulls around the way, and the 3 of them sort of open up a 30-second gap. Then things start getting fun. Now he's got 10 people that he's just towing along.
Right.
And this is not the scenario that he wanted in any way, shape, or form.
Kevin,
But there's a bunch of guys who are very happy it's turned out this way.
But Kevin, The difference between this race and any other race that we normally see in long course is that you've got your small group of great swimmers, then you've got your next group, then you've got your next group. But here, because we've got so many short course athletes and all the best long course athletes, there is no break because they're filled. The gaps that would normally be there are filled with other good swimmers. So I always knew that there wouldn't be this one or two small groups out of the water. I knew that because we had so many fantastic swimmers, that they were going to fill those gaps and allow that long pack to stay as one.
So everybody wins then from 2 through 7 then, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's who's winning this race right now. Not necessarily Skuman, even though he's out front.
Well, we do look like we have got a group of 12.
A lot of increase in tempo right now.
So we do have that group of 12. And there's about 8 seconds that separates them. And then we've got a small break when we've got our next group led by Fromhold and Jesper Svensson. Of course, we know Jesper Svensson is one of the best long course swimmers that we've got.
This swim could be hurting right now. Gustav Eden, Rudy van Berg, athletes that aren't a part of that first group. These guys coming out of the water now, getting ready for the transition, Kevin.
Henry Skuman out first, and then we've got Salvesberg. So Alistair, Vincent Louis out just ahead, and Gomez in behind Johnny Brownlee. So it goes Alistair, Johnny, Javier. So you've got the first 3 from the 2012 Olympics, and then leading the way third in the 2016 Olympics, along with the 2 winners. So we got a bunch of Olympians showing their stuff at the front of this swim.
And of course, that's exactly what we expected. We know that our short course Olympic swimmers are the superior swimmer, but it is great to see, obviously, the likes of Ben Canute, Tom Davis, Adam Bowden, even Daniel Bakkegaard, who are our longer course athletes and are all brilliant bike riders. Great to see them up there in that front group.
They're not able to get on the bikes and start riding until they get out of this transition period. There's actually a line that allows them to get on the bikes. You see the shoes are already clipped on to the bikes. They'll run barefoot right now until they get ready to jump on the bike. So the fact that Henry Skuman put all that work in and all of these cyclists are going to be coming out right behind him, he's got to feel a little bit disappointed that he wasn't able to put a little more distance between himself and his competitors.
This is an enormous group, but probably the biggest thing that we can take, and it wasn't up on our screen then, Sebastian Kinley, who arguably is the fastest bike rider on the course today, along with the likes of Lionel Sanders, is only 1 minute down. Now, I did not predict that happening. I thought he would be at least 2 to 3 minutes down on this pack. So very, very impressive. He's not up on our leaderboard, but we have been told he is only 1 minute down on this lead group of men. So that is a sensational swim.
And I need you to remind all of the fans at home and the folks listening about the draft rule here. Now that they're on the bike, now that they're on the cycles, we know that it's an issue. You cannot be within 20 meters of another athlete unless you're trying to overtake them.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be particularly difficult for these men now with such a large group. We've got so many athletes that are going to be jostling for position before they get on to the track. Once they get onto the track, that 20-meter rule will apply, and they will be firm on it. So these men are going to have to pull back, and they're going to have to hold 20 meters. So you can imagine with a group this big, that is going to be one long train.
Alistair Brownlee leads after the transition from swim to bikes. You're watching the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona.
They came out of the water and the transition zone, that first transition zone, saw Alistair Brownlee in a great position out of the water, able to go up and set the pace. And it was Ben Canute that took his turn up front. Again, all of these cyclists trying to stay at least 20 meters apart, as Engert then forged ahead. Alistair back out front. The penalties that have already been shown to the athletes for Johnny Brownlee and Vincent Louis, they will have to serve a 2-minute penalty at the end of this bike ride before the run concludes. You see Alistair grabbing a drink. The young Magnus Detlef came out of the water way back behind everyone else and has worked his way up to the front.
Grabbed himself a drink of water. And then it was Sam Appleton, who has taken over the top spot now and is going to try to pull away. A great pack right here. And Kevin, that transition is going to be chaotic.
It is going to be chaotic, and what's going to make this even more of a challenge for these guys is they can't really make a whole lot of changes in this last lap. So normally in a race you'd be trying to jockey for a good position and everything, but the way this is sorting out with everybody just getting in that line, there's a very good chance they're going to just stay exactly the way they are. If you're Alistair Brownlee though right now, you've got a big grin on your face and you're one very happy camper, because these guys have been just doing a fantastic job for you of keeping this pace rolling, and you haven't had to deal with Lionel Sanders catching up to you by the time you get to the second transition. Lionel just went flying by. He's 40 seconds back. I believe the big unit is still riding along with him. But as tough an athlete as Lionel Sanders is, trying to make up 40 seconds on the likes of Alistair Brownlee is a challenge.
Definitely. But I reckon he'll die trying. You won't. He's going to give it everything, and that's going to be very, very exciting to see just how many of those men in front of them he's able to pluck off. But I agree with you. I mean, Alistair's in the box seat right now.
Literally, I mean, just a couple seconds ago, as Kevin was talking, those top 7 bikers were all exactly 2 seconds apart. So it is going to be very chaotic, as you said, Rick, when we go into that T2.
And Rowdy, think about, some of the best runners that are inside the top 15. You've got Rudy Von Berg, you've got Alistair Brownlee, Louis, obviously he's got the penalty, a 2-minute penalty he's going to have to incur. Henry Skuman, Lionel Sanders, Gustav Eden, they're all up here in striking distance and all very established and good runners that could be fighting for this win here at Challenge Daytona.
Yeah, no question about it. And I don't think we're going to have a situation where, and Belinda, you would know more than I would, obviously, but where you'll have a situation like Haug was potentially, without the penalty, going to be able to run down Finley. And right now, you just don't have it doesn't look like you have a Finley in here that can just say, see you later, I'm going to win this thing by 3 minutes.
Well, obviously the likes of Gustav Eden, who's only 112 down now, and I don't see that blowing out too much more in this last lap. He is definitely within striking distance, and that is not, he only needs something to go slightly wrong with Brownlee up front, and he will run him down. I just think that I can't make a decision yet till I see how they look off the bike, because Von Berg, Appleton, Brownlee, Angert, O'Donnell are all great runners. Obviously Brownlee the standout. Von Berg is also a great runner in his own right. But if we can keep it at that 110 to 115 mark off the bike with some of the really good runners behind, we're going to have a great race on our hand, because it's going to come down to the line.
They're getting ready to start pulling the feet out of the shoes as they're making their way. This is turns 3 and 4 of Daytona International Speedway. When they come off of turn 4, they'll be turning back in. They'll be going to the transition 2 area where they'll drop their bikes, take the helmets off, put on the bib, put on the race shoes, and be heading out onto the track once again. Rudy Von Berg up front right now. Appleton, Ditlev, Brownlee, Angert, O'Donnell, Davis, all right there in striking distance. 11 seconds separating this group.
Looking at the distance ahead, again, I hate to look ahead and put you on the spot, Melinda, but okay, so we've got, it's an 11-mile run, or 18K, right?
Yes.
So you've got the middle distance at a 21K, the Olympic distance at 10K, obviously the full distance a little bit crazier at 42, but
yeah, just a bit
crazy. Of these top 7 anyway, does anybody fit that 11-mile just perfectly?
Definitely Ali Brownlee. He's incredible. He's an incredible runner, and by far the best runner in this field. Kevin, what do you think? What are you showing us down in T2?
All right, they are just coming into T2 right now, and we're going to see, I believe, Rudy Von Berg leading the way, the young man who came 3rd last year at the 70.3 Worlds Half Distance World Championships. It looks like Sam Appleton coming in right behind him. Ditlev and Alicia's got Sam Appleton.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam looks fantastic and was so aggressive on the bike, responded to every single move, made moves. So I'm just thrilled to see how he heads out on the run here. He's putting his socks on very quickly. He's wearing shoes with elastics to help those go on quickly. It's always difficult to get those heels on. And then he's going to grab his number belt and any nutrition that he wants to have on the run. And back over to you, Kevin.
Alistair Brownlee sort of a little shaky as he was pulling those shoes on. So this bike ride seems to have taken a little more out of them than we thought.
Thanks, Kevin. As we start the men's run, the American Rudy Von Berg leads the way. The PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona will return. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing for the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona. As we come to the conclusion of the men's event, let's take a look back at some of the men's run.
Transition to T2. Rudy Von Berg off the bike quick. Then Vincent Louis had to serve his 2-minute penalty. Johnny Brownlee also decided to serve his a little bit later in the run. Alistair Brownlee, we knew he was going to be the force, and it was only a matter of time before he got up front, passing Rudy for the lead. But then, falling off the pace, something looked to be wrong with Alistair Brownlee. And sure enough, he stops, was stretching, and then we were told it was a calf injury. Alistair Brownlee out of the competition. Thomas Davis was able to take the lead from Appleton. Those two looked like they were going to work together until Gustav Iden said, "It's time for me to take over this race." And he did just that. Once he went by these two, he took off. George Goodwin has moved into second, a smile on his face on his final lap here at Challenge Daytona.
Obviously, Lionel Sanders and Matt Hansen are long course specialists. They are the full distance specialists. That's what they excel at.
Hansen's 35.
35, thank you.
35.
Thank you.
But look at the
35.
run he's putting on right here. Trying to catch George Goodwin. This is for second. He's putting everything into it. Lionel Sanders back there.
Wow.
Clipping it off as well. George Goodwin, you see, ready to pick the pace up if he can, if he's got anything left.
This is insane. And he's making the pass.
Look at that run.
Quick look round for George to see where the next... That's almost he admitted defeat then by looking around to see where the next athlete was. It's almost like saying, okay, you've got me.
Really?
You've got me.
I don't want to fall behind the next guy. Can I stay in front of him? Hansen.
This is
what
incredible.
a kick here. This is beautiful to see. A 5:18 pace at the end of a 62-mile race overall.
Unbelievable. Look, I was talking to Laura Siddle earlier this week, and she picked it. She said Matt Hansen is in scintillating form. We were down on the track when they were doing some track laps, and I must admit, he looked incredible. But I did not think he was podium material for this particular race today, just because we had so many other phenomenal athletes here. And because he is a pure long distance, half distance and long distance, full distance racer. So
Matt
to see this,
at the age of 16, he was challenged, he said, to make a list of 50 goals that he needed to complete in the next 10 years. And for some reason, one of the goals was to complete an Ironman triathlon. Well, he's taken that list pretty seriously. He actually took the list and has kept it. He carries it with him, that list. He kept it in his wallet for 10 years. And then at the age of 25, decided, you know what, I've got to start worrying about that Ironman triathlon that I've talked about as a goal. Yeah, and so he's got into the triathlon, and what a performance we have seen out of Matt Hansen here. Also, you see race leader here, Gustav Iden, has pulled away. He has a 1-minute 17-second lead over second place Hansen. The lucky hat has worked once again, it looks like, for him, Belinda.
such a cool story. I love it. Can you imagine all of his triathlon fans in Taiwan now going off? They will be cheering.
He's close enough now. He's about ready to see the finish line. The fans will cheer him on as he comes down for the final time. The 25-year-old from Norway. Gustav Iden, the 70.3 world champ. Top draft legal triathlete. Fourth at Tokyo in a test event last year. And now he can add to his impressive resume. Challenge Daytona, the 2020 championship with PTO. Gustav Iden with a smile on his face. Gustav Iden has done it. He's won Challenge Daytona.
What an incredible race.
Able to walk across the finish line.
Current 70.3 world champion and now our PTO 2020 champion.
Great job!
What an incredible race from young Gustav Iden today.
3 hours and 5 minutes.
I take this honor of giving you this.
Almost what we
Good Christy giving him the,
Thank you. You are my friend.
giving him the medal.
Thanks.
Look at this. What a performance we've seen out of Matt Hansen.
This is definitely, for me, the performance of the day. Absolutely incredible.
He's running as though the boogeyman's behind him. He says that's the thing he's scared of. Hate that guy. Well, he's not going to catch you today, Matt. Matt Hansen, second in Challenge Daytona.
Oh, and he's happy, as he should be. That was a wonderful, wonderful race from Matt Hansen.
I have to interview you. Don't go anywhere.
George Goodwin.
Alicia
coming
laying
across
down the law.
line.
Alicia laying down the law.
Don't go anywhere.
Lionel Sanders.
Great race from Lionel. He look at the pain on his face. He gave it everything. Wow. Oh yeah. Now the reality starts to steady.
Rudy Von Berg. Kicking it all the way to the end. Let's hear from the winner. He's with Alicia.
Gustav, congratulations on an absolutely dominant performance. Walk us through your day.
The swim were not good. I was pretty afraid that I already blew up my race already in the swim. And then on the bike, I had no control on the start, but then I realized that the cars were following the leaders. And I weren't really that far behind on the bike, but I decided to just not go over my ability because 18K is pretty long in a run. And then I saw gaining a lot of the leaders from the start of the run. And then I went to the front. I had like 100% control. And then like 5 minutes later, I really started feeling it. But luckily I took a gel in the start of the run, and when the caffeine kicked in after like, I don't know, 30 minutes, then I was like back in the zone.
That's awesome.
In the end, I had pretty good control. Yeah.
So tell us about this lucky hat of yours.
Yeah, I started to believe it actually brings luck for real now, because every time I wear it, I have an amazing race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just found it on the ground in Japan last year, and it's from Taiwan, and like I really feel like a connection with the Taiwanese people now. So it's so cool to be there. It's an honor.
Gustav Iden from Norway brings home the win here in Daytona with an incredible performance. Let's take a look at our men's top 30.
Great performances again. Eden, Hansen, Goodwin, Lionel Sanders, who won the event a year ago, comes home in fourth on a spectacular run, a spectacular biker. Got out of the water way later than what he would have hoped for to be in contention for the win. You see Vincent Louis there also, only 2 minutes and 15 seconds back. Remember, that's with a 2-minute penalty, so he would have been within 15 seconds of Gustav Iden.
There's T.O., Tim O'Donnell, 16th.
Back through the field, Johnny Brownlee in 30th. Again, he also had a 2-minute drafting penalty that he had to serve.
Now let's go down with Alicia Kay, who's caught up with our second place finisher.
Wow. Matt, that was just unbelievable. Tell us what happened out there on the run.
I've been waiting for my run to show up all year, and I picked a good day to have a good day, I guess. I biked really well. I had pretty happy with where I came out of the water to set up the day. I ended up getting dropped by the Uber bikers about the halfway point, and then really I was on my own on the bike the rest of the day, and so it was just a constant reminder to stay focused.
George Goodwin, what a performance. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Did you see it coming? Did you know you were ready to have this kind of day?
Yeah, I've been putting in the really good work over the past I've had 10 weeks perfect, absolutely perfect. And I knew I had a top 10 in me, and then going off onto the run, and I was I had a really bad cramp in my left quad in transit in T2. I was maybe the run just won't happen today, and just managed to build my way through, and everyone went off really quick. And I just gradually moved my way through.
Smiles on their faces, and we saw from these athletes smiles on their faces because it was an opportunity to compete. They have had a tough 2020 season, and these athletes got the opportunity to come out here and prove who the best of the best was.
Yeah, incredible to see. And of course, we knew going into this race there was a lot of unknowns. A lot of people have had disrupted training regimes, no racing this season, so it was always going to be an incredible race, and it did not disappoint. To see Paula Finlay come home with what I call a faultless race to take the win, truly incredible. Of course, in the men's race, we knew it was going to be a real battle between our long course athletes and our short course athletes, and it did not disappoint.
I just want to thank you, Rick, and especially Kevin, Alicia, and my partner Melinda for kind of holding my hand all day long. I really appreciate you guys letting me be here.
Hope you enjoyed the PTO 2020 Championship at Challenge Daytona. Thanks for watching.